guys, it's Abby, aka Demonic File, and welcome back to my channel and my dorm room. Today, I thought I would address the topic that is appending everyone in a long-distance relationship, and that is cheating. So first things first I want to address is Oliver is not cheating on me. I just thought this would be an interesting topic to kind of have me talk in kind of a maybe so unorganized fashion where I kind of address it in my feelings, and just because in a fun way, talking about cheating is fun. No, but in the fun way of like, it's something that a lot of people think about, and maybe too much, and maybe that's something that people are afraid of in long distance relationships, and that's something really that I think I had a very high fear of really early on in my relationship. And now that I'm at college, and now that there's more people who are actually long distance, like if they were dating from high school, or dating before, like obviously before, maybe even they transferred to colleges, everyone, if they are in a relationship before college or even during college and they meet people who leave, they're kind of ending up in this predicament where they're oftentimes in a long distance relationship, and like the number one thing that is like in your mind is like cheating. And infidelity in general is something that kind of ponders the human brain and kind of hits the spot of insecurity too frequently, at least in my opinion. I will say, when I was more insecure with myself and more insecure with how I was feeling, cheating and infidelity was something that was just such a thing that was so common in my thoughts that it really made me question who I am. Because one of the things that people oftentimes may break up for is not because of cheating. They may oftentimes break up because of the fact that people are too insecure. And if you're new here, I've been with my boyfriend for almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in February of 2018, and things are just kind of interesting because, like, the first kind of, I would confess, I would say it's more like the first year and a half to 2 years. I will say that I, sadly enough, was probably too insecure. It actually may have been more of the first year, but I'm being generous with that estimation. It was more my adolescent self, because I started dating my boyfriend when I was about to turn 15. I had like 2 weeks till then, but I'm gonna say 15, and my mindset was like totally different than where I'm at now, where I'm like 18. And so it's just like, whoa, now I think differently. But I think from point A to point B, people just, especially with being in a long distance relationship, I think the thought of cheating may become more, it may stem up and bubble up in your essence more than it may when you're in person, or it may not. But I think one of the interesting things about being apart in a long distance relationship is that you don't really have control like you do when you're in together. Like, I'm not saying you should be controlling in your relationships, like, no, but there was a way of different factors of like you can interact with each other on a daily basis, and you can almost keep up with each other, and you know each other's schedules, and you know how to coordinate like a relationship. But when you're apart, oftentimes, at least I found, is I don't really know Oliver's schedule that much. I actually, confession, just found out he only works 3 days a week. I thought he worked 5, and one of those was just me not listening, and the other one was just me not knowing. And it's like you don't know their life, because really I think being in a long distance relationship, it's almost like you have 2 separate lives and you're just kind of holding on to each other. Whoa. My roommate just texted me, sorry for the jump cut, but I was letting her know I was filming, because it would be awkward enough of me talking like this right now, but it would be even more awkward if she just kind of waltzed in, was like, hey girl, what's up? And I'd be like, yo, 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 I don't know. To the point, back to my kind of cheating kind of aspect of, and just when you're kind of, I feel like in the controlling kind of, maybe like with the scenarios of how when you're together, there's lots of things you can always be together, or you can be together on weekends, or you can know each other's free time, and there's more options, and you know what the other, and you know the people in their lives. But when you're apart, you don't really know. Like, I would say my roommate might be a really good example, because she's had this boyfriend long-term, about as long as Oliver and I have been dating, but they went to high school together, and then they're split up at 2 different colleges. And I think I kind of can see that with how she's talked to, in her relationship, kind of like her boyfriend, or she, maybe even on her end, maybe not so much on her end, because he is a commuter, and so he's kind of in the same area. But on his end, it's like, there's all these new people, new guys, new females, new everything, and there's going to be a big aspect of change, and that just comes with college in general. But when you're apart, there's gonna be people that you don't know, and I mean, there's gonna be people that may have crushes on your significant other, and I think it just comes down to really trust and having that sense of security, because when you're holding on to each other, oftentimes it can be hard, especially if it's like a first change. And like, I think the thing I dealt with when I first started dating Oliver is that I really did have an issue with just kind of, I didn't really have a lot of trust. And that's just because of my past and my feelings, and I just was like, oh my God, you know. And there's still like a couple of girls, or maybe just one girl, I take main issue because she has this big old crush on Oliver, and I know she does, and everyone knows she does, and it gets on my nerves. It's like, it's like literally sticking a knife in my back, because that's the one thing I get kind of mad about. And it's not an issue of trust, because I know Oliver would never cheat on me. And the aspect is, if you think about, even if he did cheat on me, that means he's not worth it. He's not worth it to me. And although he's going to watch this and he's going to be like, my point being that it's really more about your individual. If that other, the infidelity happens, it's not so much about them anymore and you, it's more about just yourself, not together. And infidelity in general is just a topic that is like, I mean, it is a monster to handle. But I would say being long distance can make it worse, because I've been mentioning, when you're apart and it's just like, you don't know. I mean, Oliver, I think, on his aspect, he's a very friendly guy. He is very social. He's very popular. One of his strong suits is he is a talker, and he literally, I think that's why he and I get along so well, is because we just talk and talk and talk to an endless abyss. Maybe I talk a little bit more and he maybe talks a little more eloquently, but we have a way with people and how we approach people and how we just kind of have this confidence. And one of those aspects is it does attract people to be around you. When you're confident of yourself, you attract those around you, but I don't know those people. And I think that's the biggest issue with long distance, and maybe cheating become more of an issue, because you're just like, I don't know them. I don't trust them. It's like not so much the trust of your partner, but the trust of the other people. But then it all stems back to your partner, because you don't really know. I mean, especially if it's like your first relationship and you've never been with anybody else and you've never been cheated on before, or you have been cheated on before, and you're just like, I don't know. And I really can't answer that question of what do you do if you're cheated on in a long distance relationship. I mean, what I would do is I dump their ass and I basically move on and be like, bye, Felicia. I'm not, somebody ever cheats on me, they're not worth it. And there's no point in sticking around, ever. But if you're just skeptic and you're insecure, I really would probably recommend you addressing those issues with your partner, or maybe even addressing it in like a journal or your own diary or in your own expressions, or maybe even like a video like this. I don't know. But kind of expressing your feelings directly to your partner usually is the kind of how I dealt with it. And although Oliver didn't always appreciate it, it's like kind of working past it together. And one of those things is, insecurities can be a breaker in a relationship, and kind of realizing that maybe you need to put a little more trust in the person, and realize kind of that if they do, then really it's probably for the better. I always say if they cheat on you, it's for the better. Like, what? That sounds like such a weird thing. But it just means that if you had stuck with them and married them and had a long-term relationship, and they had this character flaw or this moral dilemma where they weren't an ethical person or they weren't morally sound, you wouldn't have ended up in such a long-term, you wouldn't have, you waste some time, but wasting some time is better than 10 years. So if you know it now and that happens, you're way better off than you are if you know it 10 years down the line. And just kind of working through it, whether with yourself, with your partner, or just kind of addressing those issues, how I'd probably recommend dealing with the thing of cheating. But if you're ever directly cheated on, do not stick with the person ever. And you might be like, but like, I'm serious, if I can tell you straight to your face that, if, I would break up with my boyfriend in a heartbeat if he cheated on me. That's just saying something that, like, it's, when you stick with somebody who cheats on you, usually you just put, like, no value on your own self-worth. And it puts you in a position where you're just lower, and, like, this person can practically control you, they can, manipulate you, and they can do what they want. And really the lesson is, if they're begging for you, come back to them, or any situation like that, they don't need you. They're basically just trying to win you over and manipulate and get what they want. They're being selfish. And I think addressing that is moving on, finding somebody better, and finding someone with better morals and better ethic values. And I mean, I kind of am sticking more on this topic than maybe I want to, but that's kind of how I feel. You know, if they cheat, break up. If you know, if you're worried that they're cheating, maybe talk about it, try to work through it, and put a little bit of trust. And if they do stab you in the back, well then, I guess you can't trust that person. Goodbye. Never try to make it work. Never. That just makes it worse, and it really does. The only time I would say ever try is if, you know, I don't know, you know what, I've never tried. Just, it sounds like such a weird thing to say, but the only exception I might say is if you're married. But even if you're married, you really should think about yourself, and even if you have children, to think about your family, and being with someone who basically breaks the moral code and breaks ethics and makes a wrong decision for their own personal gain is not a person to be around, no matter the history, no matter anything, because your self-worth and the people who are around you, whether they be children, deserve better. And so that's me on my thoughts of long-distance relationships and cheating. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Just me going off. I hope you enjoyed this video though, and since I have plenty of my subscribers who always stick to the end, you guys are the best, I am going to mention a few notes. One of those notes is that, yes, I am still sick. and that's because, I don't know, I'm going to be seeing a ears, nose, and throat specialist next week, and that kind of makes my schedule evil because I have to drive all the way home and then all the way back for classes Friday morning. But hopefully I'll be getting better. Maybe I'll have to find out if I have to have my tonsils removed, because I still have my tonsils. My ear ruptured like this week, and that's like the second time it's ruptured, and it was painful before that, and now I don't really have any pain in my ears. So I guess that's a good thing. But I've been sick for, you know, pretty much through most of the summer, and then August was really bad. Now it's September, it's halfway through September, and I'm still sick. Gone through 2 rounds of antibiotics. 1 round was kind of, you know, the normal dosage, and the second round was hardcore antibiotics, and I have not gotten better. I have not gotten over it, and there's obviously something wrong in my immune system that I just cannot get rid of this infection. Second note, I'm just going to tell you guys that I appreciate you so much, and if you have any video suggestions, I have like plenty of things, like, you know, a tag, a dorm tour, you know, just that kind of stuff. I kind of enjoy doing it. I'm kind of trying to move in more into a positive direction, because I feel like last big chunks of my videos have been negative Nancy. But in any case, my life's going pretty well, and that's good. So that's it. Gobble gobble. I'm a satanic turkey. Bye.